Okay, so now we're going to be dividing rational expressions, and so we're going to be using that term, keep, flip, change, and then the problem becomes multiplication. So let's go ahead and go to our first problem. Okay, so we have our first problem here. Whoop, I hit the wrong one, sorry. Okay, so our first problem here is 5x to the fourth over 8x squared y squared divided by 15 over 8y to the fifth. So I went ahead and wrote this problem down. So if you will notice, what I did is I took this right here, which is our divisor, and I flipped it, just like you would any kind of multiplication problem involving fractions. So keep, change, flip. So we're going to flip this, and then you can just simply multiply straight across. 5 times 8 is 40, and then x fourth y to the fifth, and then 8 times 15 is going to be 120, and then x squared y squared. And then you can just simplify from there. So 40 will go into 120. Hold on a minute. Okay, 3 times. So, sorry. So we can cancel that out, make that a 3. And so we'll put 3 here. And then subtract. So 2 and x to the fourth will become an x squared. So we're going to put that on top. And then y squared y to the fifth would be y cubed, because 5 minus 2 is y cubed. So your answer is x squared y cubed over 3. So there it is, worked out. So we see it's just like multiplication, except you just flip it around. Now the next problem is pretty complicated. It's x to the fourth minus 9x squared over x squared minus 4x plus 3 divided by x to the fourth plus 2x cubed minus 8x squared over, I say not minus, but divided by, and then x squared minus 16. So what I've done, first step is I flip it. So there's a lot to do in this problem because we have a lot of simplifications coming on with this problem. So the first thing I'll do is factor out my GCF, which is going to be x squared. And then x to the fourth divided by x squared is x squared minus, and then 9x squared divided by x squared is 9. We see we have a difference of a square, but we'll deal with that in a minute. Now we're going to factor this x squared minus 4x plus 3. We know both signs are going to be a negative. And then factors of 3 that add up to 4 is 3 and 1. Okay, here we have a difference of a square, which is going to be 4. Okay, because we have a perfect square root in first and last terms. Square root of x squared is x and x, and square root of 16 is 4 and 4. Now, here we have x to the fourth, 2x squared, and x squared. We're going to factor out that x squared first. And then a number we can't factor out 2 because it's not in the first term. So x to the fourth divided by x squared is x squared. 2x cubed divided by x squared is 2x. And then, of course, the x squares will cancel here. Now, we're not finished with factoring. We still have some more factoring to do. So we're going to do that because we know that this x squared minus 9 is a difference of a square. And then write out our denominator. Okay, and then x plus 4x minus 4. And then we're going to put x squared here. And then this quadratic here, x squared minus 2x minus 8 will factor. And that's going to be a plus and minus, x and x. And factors of 8 that has a difference of 2, which will be 4 and 2. And we know the 4 will go behind the negative because the 2 is negative. Okay, so now I'm just going to cancel what can be canceled here. Okay, so we can cancel those 2. And I can cancel these 2. Okay, so I can also go ahead and cancel this x into this x squared by cross-canceling. And now we're just going to take what is left. Now I'm running out of room, so I'm about to squeeze it. So it's going to be x and x plus 3, and then x plus 4, that's everything left in the top, over the x minus 1 and the x plus 2. And that's going to be your answer. So now I'm just going to click through this so you can see it. Okay, so we see here that our answer is, now my mistake, I made a mistake here. That was supposed to be an x squared and I didn't write it here, so actually it completely factored out, so there is no x. So your answer is x plus 3, x minus 4 over x minus 1 and x minus 2. So there you go. Okay, so now you try. Okay, so what we'll do is we will just write these down. Okay, so now we're going to have x squared over 4 divided by x4y and then 12y squared. Okay, so I'm just going to multiply that, make it x to the 6y. Oh, we got to flip it first. Okay, and now we're just going to multiply that. Let me just cross to that. Okay, so that will become 12 x squared y squared over 4 x to the 4th and then y. Okay, so now we know that we can cancel that. Okay, and then we can make that an x squared and then we can just make that a y. So your answer becomes 3y over x squared. So those are pretty simple to do there. It's when you get to these. So this one we have 2x squared minus 7x minus 4 over x squared minus 9. And I'm going to go ahead and flip it on my paper. We're going to put the 8x squared minus 28x plus 12 in our numerator, and then the 4x squared minus 1 in the denominator. So I went ahead and flipped it here. So I'm going to go ahead and start simplifying. Now, this one we're going to have to factor by using slip and slide. So we're going to make that x squared minus 7x minus 8, which will factor out to be x plus and x minus, and then 1 and 8. Okay, and then we have to go ahead and divide by 2. So that becomes 2x plus 1, and that becomes x minus 4. Okay, so that will be our numerator factored out. Okay, and then x plus 3 and x minus 3 for this x squared minus 9, because that's the difference of a square. Okay, times. Now here we have a GCF that we can factor out, and the GCF between 8, 28, and 12 is 4. So I'm going to factor out that 4, and that will become 2x squared minus 7x plus 3. And then we're going to do slip and slide and see if we can factor this again. And we can. So it becomes x minus 6 and then x minus 1. And then we're going to divide by 2. So now this will become 4x minus 3 and then 2x minus 1. I know this is getting really sloppy. Okay, over 4x squared minus 1, which is a difference of a square, which is going to be 2x minus 1, and then 2x plus 1. So now these will cancel. Okay, and then we come over here and we're going to see if there's anything that will cancel out here, and there's not. So let's take a look at this. The answer is going to come out to be 4, x minus 3, and x plus 3. Because remember, I can cross cancel as well, and then we can cancel out the x minus 3. So you're going to be left with 4 times x minus 4 and x plus 3. I know that these are really more complicated. These would not be one that I would make it a little simpler for you for a quiz or test. So these examples are a little complicated here.